Hi everyone, welcome back to another live community classroom with Michaels. We have our friend Tamara Kelly with us today to learn table knitting with Bernat Plush Big. My name is Renee L. from Yarn Inspirations, and I'll be helping with any questions you might have during today's class. Please feel free to drop your questions in the chat and we'll make sure that Tamara answers them. While we're getting ready to kick things off, let us know where you're watching from. Over to you, Tamara.
All right. Hi, everybody. I'm Tamara from Moogly Blog, and as she said, today we are doing table knitting. Specifically, it is the Bernat Table Knit Plush Blanket, and it's using a fantastic new yarn. I just got to try it out for the first time this week myself, and it's Yarn Inspirations Bernat Plush Big. We're going to be getting a really great look at this yarn tonight. If you weren't able to get a hold of this yarn for the class, you can use any 7-weight yarn. The bigger, the better. You want something you can really grip with your hands and move through. So Bernat Blanket Big is another great option, Bernat Blanket Extra Thick. But for tonight, we're using Bernat Plush Big, which I really love. It's got some great stitch definition that's really going to help us see our stitches. And this is what I'm talking about. This is the finished blanket right here. The Yarn Inspirations design teams created this, but they sent it to me to show off for the class. Let me make sure I show the right side here. So this is the right side. This is the side we work from when we're knitting. And here is just a peek at the back side. This is what the back looks like. You'll see there are a few ends hanging out here. I'm going to be teaching you how to take care of those later in the class, so don't worry about that. But this is the look of the blanket that we're going to be creating here. I might have it upside down. I think it's right side up, but it is a beautiful stockinette look knit blanket. So it's got that big bulky look that, we've been seeing in all those ads for those big gorgeous blankets, right? Really beautiful, really neutral, very hygge, and of course, perfect for winter. So I'm going to go ahead and bring in my hand camera and we'll take a closer look at the yarn and get started with some table knitting. Right here, we have the Bernat Plush Big. Before I go any further, though, I just saw a little note popping up saying someone's unable to hear. Amanda, can you tell me, is my speaker working okay from Michael's end?
It's working just fine. I'll give
Okay.
instructions in the chat.
All right, I just wanted to make sure I hadn't bumped something while I was moving all those big blanket and yarn around here. All right, so we've got the Yarn Inspirations Bernat Plush Big right here. If we turn it over, you can see this is a 7-weight yarn. That tells us how big around this yarn is. And like I said, you can see this is a lot thicker than you probably are used to thinking about yarns, right? It gives us something to grip onto, and it's going to make table knitting a lot easier. If you try and use one of those really thin yarns, it's just a lot harder to form those loops with our fingers since we're not using any needles or any other tools other than our hands until we take care of those ends, of course. So let me go ahead and pull up a little bit of this yarn here so you can take a closer look at it. You can see this one has kind of a unique construction. The outside is kind of like well, I dare say almost like a knit tube. And then on the inside, it's filled with all these great strings. It creates this really soft, squishy, plush tube style yarn that is going to be perfect for this kind of project. So whenever we're working with a great big yarn like this, I always recommend that you start by pulling up a yard or two. Don't worry about measuring it. We just want to have enough to work with here so they're not having to stop and pull up more from our skein every few minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and kind of set my skein off to the side here. And I've got to go ahead and find your end. So I'm going to give you guys a moment to find the end of your yarn. It's usually kind of tucked into one of the ends. With this yarn, in particular, I really want to encourage you to look for the yarn end that's on the outside of the skein. Don't try and find one on the inside of the skein. That's going to be a little trickier for this one. It's just easier to find it on the outside of the skein and unwind it from there. There we go. Alrighty, so the first thing we need to do when we get started with table knitting is make a slip knot. If you already know how to knit with needles or you know how to crochet, you may already know how to do this, but if not, we're going to go through it together. We find the end of our yarn and we want to come in about 10 inches or so. When you're crocheting with smaller yarns, you might hear to go in 4 to 6 inches, but with a great big thick yarn, I recommend you come in a little bit further just because each stitch is a little bit bigger and it's going to take up more of that yarn. After you found the end of your yarn, I like to put it on my right because I'm right-handed. If you're left-handed, you can put it on the other side, whatever works for you. But we're going to just loop it over itself like that. You can see that's already a little bit shorter than I like. I'm actually going to move that loop a little bit further in. There we go. I like to have a little bit more tail than that. So let me pull that out straight and show how to do that one more time. We've got our tail end. We just want to create a loop in the yarn, just like that. This end is still attached to our skein, and this end is cut right there. Wants to hide off camera. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to slip this tail end underneath this loop I just made, just like that. So I can see it right there in the middle. Let me move that over so you can still see there's my cut end, and it's just going under that loop I made. So to finish the slip knot, I need to take my fingers and grab that little section and pull it up through that loop. I'm going to take my other hand and pull down on the two ends, the one that's attached to the skein and the one that is cut. This creates a slip knot, and a slip knot is easy to adjust. That's one of the great things about it. You can pull on that tail end and adjust it, make it smaller, pull up on it, make it bigger. If you don't like the way the whole thing turned out, you just give it a tug and it all goes away. So let's do that again. We find the end of our yarn. We come in 10, 12 inches, whatever looks good to you, a good amount. Make a loop in our yarn like that. Just lift it right over itself. I always say it looks a little bit like one of those awareness ribbons. Then we take this end and put it right under that loop. Kind of looks like a little pretzel almost. We reach right into that circle, grab that bit of yarn, and pull up on that to create a loop while we stabilize those two ends down there. Kind of pull back and forth, however you want to think about it. We just want to create a slip knot. All right. After you've got your slip knot made, you're going to want to probably pull down on that end. You might need to pull up, but we want that loop to be just about the size for your thumb and forefinger to fit through. Just like that. So you can adjust it. This is a really nicely stretchy yarn. It's going to make this a lot easier, actually. So you can make it a relatively tight loop right there. You don't want it to be super tight, but you want it to be just big enough for your fingers to fit through like that. And then we'll be ready to start stitching. So before I begin the stitching itself, do we have any questions I can answer on what we've done so far?
Nothing just yet.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure. Usually we have a few people asking to see the slip knot a couple more times, but as you were told at the beginning of the class, you will be sent, the recording will be up on the Michael's YouTube channel, so you'll be able to watch again later if you do need to see the slip knot again. Just big enough for your index and your thumb. Yes, just like that. Just big enough so you can get a little pinching going on there with a little stretch of the yarn, but you don't want it, super loose and hanging off like crazy. Then our instructions say we want to make 32 chains. Now that is for the full-sized blanket. It's going to be about 42 inches wide and 55 inches long. That's for the 7 balls version. Tonight, since we've only got 1 hour for our class, I'm not going to attempt to make the whole blanket. If you want to go ahead and get started and chain 32, you absolutely can. I'm going to chain an arbitrary number. Honestly, that is one of the lovely things about this blanket. If you want your blanket to be wider than 42 inches or narrower than 42 inches, you can see right there in the pattern is where it tells you the usual the measurement that you should get. And that's going to be approximate because everybody's fingers are a little bit different size too. The great thing about this pattern is you don't need a specific number of stitches other than to make the size. So if you are making your blanket and you realize, oh gosh, I've made it with 31 or 33 and I haven't lost or gained any stitches, it's fine. It's a blanket. It won't mess anything up. So tonight I'm probably going to make 7 or 8 stitches just for our sample. So I've got my cut end forward. I've got my slip knot underneath my thumb and my forefinger and my thumb right in there. What I want to do now is start creating the chains. So this is a move that we usually make in crochet and hand crochet. We want to bring the yarn behind our fingers up over the top and pinch. Grab it between your thumb and your finger there. And then we're just going to use our finger to gently pull that on up through the loop and get our thumb back in the new loop. Don't worry, I'll show that again. But that will create one chain. This is the chain. This right now is our active loop. And just like our slip knot, we can pull it right back out. So let's do that together again. I'm going to put my thumb and my forefinger in my loop, and if they start pulling up and getting loose, you can go ahead, give a tug on those ends. Get them nice and tight again. Not too tight you can't move, but tight so they feel pretty good and snug there on your fingers. Then we bring our yarn up from behind our fingers and over so we can grab it, and then we want to just gently pull it through. Now when we pull it through, we want to do our best not to twist it. What do I mean by that? See, this is the strand coming up from our skein, and it's staying on this side of the loop. I'm not twisting the loop as I pull it up and through. I'm going to pull that out and show you again so you can watch and see how I do that. I yarn over from behind, grab the yarn, and then watch as I pull it through. I make sure that I put my finger and thumb in from this side so that our yarn doesn't twist. So that would be one chain. This is generally considered the top of the chain. See, it kind of looks like a V. And this is the underside of the chain where we have the back hump. We want to be working from this side of the V. So if you need to put your work down and come back to it later, we want to look for the V's and enter from that direction. Now, you've pulled this new loop up through your chain. We want to make sure this loop is the same size as the other loop we made. Should be just big enough for your finger and thumb. Then we do the same thing. We bring our yarn over from behind, give it a little pinch, and pull it up and through. Now we've made two chains. You can see it's a V with another V nested inside. And if we turn it over, back hump, back hump. Two chains made plus our active loop. Every time we make one, we've got that new active loop on our fingers. We want to make sure to snug it down and make sure that's the same size again. Then we yarn over again, bringing our yarn from behind, hold on to it, and gently pull it up and through. So there's 3. Yarn over, grab the yarn, gently pull it up and through, and you just keep going just like that until you have 32 chains for the full-size blanket, or just a few if you want to go ahead and practice along with me tonight. You can see here all those V's kind of nest into each other, and all those back humps on the back sort of line up. Sometimes, especially when you are just learning this technique, chaining can take a lot of practice. Getting these loops to look nicely even can be it's just like I say, it just takes a lot of practice. It's the hardest thing usually when you're learning to crochet with a hook is just getting everything really even. It's the same thing with our fingers when we're crocheting or knitting for that matter. So if you find that you've made chains you don't like or they've gotten twisted, maybe you picked it up and worked from the other side, same thing. We can just pull those right back out. You can pull out just the ones you don't like, pull out all the way back here to the slip knot if you want to, even take out that slip knot and start over. You can see this yarn holds up to that really beautifully, so you don't have to worry about making mistakes. We can always just pull our stitches right back out and start over again. It's one of the really fun things about yarn. Unlike, paint or paper, you haven't used it up, you can just pull your stitches out and start over. So let's do that together. We've got our slip knot, we've got our loop. I'm going to bring my yarn from behind, pinch it, and pull it through. One V is made there, so that's one chain. Same thing, pull it over and gently pull it through. And it's yarn and it's tough, so don't be afraid to just grab it, manhandle it. You can really tug on it. It's not going to break or anything. Push it back a little further on your fingers if you need to. Yarn over and pull the loop through. So if this is your first time doing a project like this, doing crochet or knitting or, working with your hands with yarn this way, It's fine if you want to take a night just to practice your chains. Just like I would recommend to someone who was learning to crochet or knit, you're going to start with the most basic things and practice that quite a bit first. There we are. So that is a row of chains. I have to turn it a little bit here so it all fits on camera. If we wanted to count them, we would say there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 chains. So this right here is a section of the pattern that resembles crochet. After this, it's going to go back to resembling what you might think of as knitting, especially if you've knit before, kind of a crochet start to our knit project. So do we have any questions before I move on to starting with those knit stitches?
No questions so far, but one of our guests, Ariana, looks like she has finished the blanket. So I was wondering if at the end of the class she could hold it up and show it for everybody, if that would be chill.
I think that would be great. Absolutely. Just remind me when you get to the end of the class. And of course, it's going to have to, I think Michael's is going to have to run that one from their end. So, how do we tell if it's backwards? Well, not sure what you mean exactly by backwards. The front of the chain, we want to look, see how there's kind of these two loops and they kind of V down into each other. You can see that one's really, really tight, almost like you might think of like a braid. It has that sort of that braided look to it. And then from the underneath, we've got a row of humps there. You can kind of see from the side there. That would be the back of the chain. So if you drop some stitches, if a few of them fall off, pull out, you can just go ahead and put them back on. To put your fingers back in, you want to look for the V side and bring your fingers in from the V side, not from the back hump side. Bernat Blanket Big yarn is a great substitute. If you weren't able to get a hold of this yarn, Bernat Blanket Big should work really well as well. You might have to leave a little bit more room for your fingers because that one is a little bit thicker than this yarn. So I'm going to go ahead and put one more chain back on here since I pulled that one out. And now we're going to go ahead and begin the first row. So to begin our first row, since this is table knitting, ideally you want to have a little table or maybe a clipboard or a large book, something on your lap so you can really lay this out. Now, again, I'm right-handed, so I'm going to be doing it this way. Knitting does tend to be right or left-handed. This particular project, I don't think it matters as much, but since we're using our hands, you can use whatever hand you want to pull those loops through. I do recommend that you lay it out like this with the active loop, if you will, right now, on your right side. And then we want to also make sure our yarn is nice and loose away from our skein. Just lay that on the table, kind of right above our stitches here, like so. So you want to take a minute and lay it out. Look for the side with the V's. That's the side we want facing up on our table. So if we look at that last stitch, if we haven't twisted our stitches, you can see it's that strand of yarn is on the top side and that's attached to our skein right there. Okay, so we're going to start putting some knit stitches into these chains. So what we're going to do, first things first, we have this chain right here. This is going to be the first loop for our first knit stitch. So this is going to stay an active loop. This one is the stitch that this loop is coming out of. So we're not going to work back into this stitch right here. We're going to come to this stitch. So let's look at that really closely. Here's our active loop. Here's that V that loop is coming out of. So we want to go to the next V right here. And as we pull up loops through these chains, we're going to be pulling them under just this loop right here. When we look at that top V and lay it out, it's the one that's furthest away from us, the one closest to the end of our yarn here. So we've got our first one right here. I'm going to pull the yarn right behind what we've been doing, find, or skip that one, go to the next one, and I'm just going to pull the yarn up through into a loop right through that loop of the chain. And what I want to do is pull up that loop till it's about the same size as this loop right here. The pattern says about 2 inches. I've measured it out. That really is a pretty close pinch right there. So let me go ahead and pull it out so I can show that again. Make sure that last one there doesn't get twisted. So this is going to be our first knit stitch loop. We're going to skip over the one right next to it and find that loop right there. Then we're just going to use our fingers to push this yarn up under that loop, making sure not to pull this loop out. That's the tricky part. So you can kind of hold on to it if you want to, or just make sure to gently pull from the skein itself. But we just want to pull another 2-inch loop up through that chain right there. So now we've got our active loop and the loop we pulled up through that chain. Then we just work our way on down through all those chains we've made. So here's the next stitch, and here's that back farthest loop. So we do the same thing. We just pull up another approximately 2-inch loop. And at this point, it's fine to eyeball it. And you'll notice as I make each one, I kind of go back and adjust all the others. And that I'm doing that to make sure that I'm not accidentally pulling these back ones out, pulling them down as I pull on across, and to make sure that they're, kind of check the size. They look like they're all about the same size. So I can see I'm coming out of this one for a loop, so I just go right to the next stitch. Find that loop that's furthest back, and gently pull up and through till it's got about a 2-inch loop. Go to the next one. Same thing. Pull up our loop, give them a little adjust, say, oh gosh, that one's getting a little short, and give it a little tug. Pull some length down all the way through them if you need to. I like to kind of, as you see, anchor, use my other hand to anchor the bottom of that chain and give those a tug and make sure they're just all standing up nice and straight there. So we've got 2 more chains left here. You can see one there and one there that leads down to the slip knot. So we pull up 2 more loops. If you chained 32 loops, or 32 chains when we started, then you will have a total of 32 loops that you pull up. I pull up the last one right there next to the slip knot. And if you remember, I started with 7 chains. So now I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 loops right there. And when you get to the end of that row, pulling up that loops, so we can go back, like I say, make sure they're all the same size and make sure none of them are twisted. If you don't like the way they look, same thing. You can just start pull on that yarn and they'll all pull right back out. There we go. So that is how we finish row 1. For row 2, again, if you've crocheted or knit before, you might think we're going to flip things over. Not with this pattern. With table knitting, we leave it on the table and we do not turn our work. Now, that not to be said, somebody might write a table knitting pattern while you do turn your work, but for this pattern, we do not turn our work. So what we want to do is get our yarn ready again. Make a little bit more room here. I'm going to go ahead and again, pull up that strand of yarn so it's above the previous row. I'm going to go ahead and pull up some more for my skein too here because I know I'm going to need it shortly. There we are. So make sure that's up here on my table so it's nice and loose and it isn't pulling back down. There we go. So this is going to be our row 2 repeat, and our row 2 repeat is a little bit different because we're going to do something a little different with the first and last stitch of this row to create a really beautiful edging. What we've been doing before, pulling these loops from the back, would be considered knit stitches. We're going to pull on the first and last for this row from the front to the back, going the opposite direction to create purl stitches. So we've got our yarn all lined up. We went right to left for the first row. So our second row, we're going to go left to right because we did not turn our work. So let's get this all lined up here. I've got my yarn ready to go. It's behind my stitches, but for this first one, I'm going to pull it in front, just like so. And then I'm going to push it right through that first knit loop from front to back. Same thing. I really want to kind of hold on to the end that's sort of attached to those other stitches and then pull up on the end that's attached to the skein so I don't accidentally pull any of my stitches out. But again, I want to pull up till it's about 2 inches high. I always like to just kind of check that, get my thumb and finger in there. I know that's the right size. Then after that first one, we go ahead and pull that yarn to the back again until we get to that very last stitch. Now you can see this one wanted to twist like that. You can see that loop's twisting a little bit there. So I want to make sure to straighten it back out. And then I go ahead and pull the loop up from behind. And again, I can kind of hold that down so I don't accidentally pull the previous loop on through. There we go. And then we just go to the next stitch and pull it through. Hopefully we'll get through a couple more rows here, and we're going to repeat rows 2 and 3 until we're ready to bind off. So you can see here, we're starting to get that knit look already. We've got a bar across on this one, which shows it's a purl. And then we've got sort of that look happening that we're used to seeing on knit fabrics. So again, we just want to work our way across, pulling our loop up from behind through each loop till it's about the same size. There we are. Just give it a little gentle little tug, sort of sort them all out. There we are. Just like so. And sometimes they really want to twist. But if you look at the way that the yarn moves through the fabric, we want to be able to keep a really nice wave of the strand itself so that those loops themselves don't become twisted. So we've worked into that one. You can tell that because that's where our yarn's coming out of. And then we come to that very last one. So we want to purl again. So we're going to bring our yarn back to in front of that loop and push it through from front to back. Just get that same size loop again. Now it's always a good idea, especially when you're learning, to count your stitches again. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I know that I didn't miss any of my stitches. So now we're ready for row 3. Were there any questions I could answer on row 2? We're going to be making it again here in a row 4 because it really does just go back between rows 2 and 3, 2 and 3, 2 and 3 to the end of the pattern.
No questions aside from just asking if you could repeat the step
All
after the
right.
second row, but we'll be going there again. So
Let's absolutely do that together, of course. So we have finished the end of row 2. That is our row 2 repeat. It's going to be the same thing every time. We're going to work from left to right, purl the first one, knit the rest, purl the last one, no matter how many stitches you ended up with. So if you decide to make it wider or narrower or make our little sample today, that's our pattern for the row 2. For row 3, we do the same thing, sort of, that we did in row 1, but now we've got these knit loops to work into instead of chains. We want to set up our yarn, get it lined up above and behind our work, and our row 3 repeat is all knits. We're not going to pull the yarn to the front of our stitches at all. So we just go ahead and pull it right behind. Now again, I want to make sure and take a look, make sure this loop hasn't been twisted. It has not. So I just pull the yarn right behind it and pull up my first loop here for row 3. And then I just continue on across. We find the next loop right there and gently pull right from behind. There we go. Excuse me. Alrighty. Next one. Sometimes the yarn wants to fall off the table. We have to pull it back on. There we go. Oop. Make sure we're pulling through the right loop there. I tried to accidentally grab that one. Felt a little tight. Take a look. There's the loop I want attached to our working yarn. And just go back every once in a while and check and make sure that those loops aren't getting pulled through. Just a few more left here on our little sample. There we are. That one wanted to twist. You can see that right there. It was twisting up on me. I want to straighten that out. Usually when we knit with needles, that's sort of the needle's job. That's what they do, is they hold all those loops open to the same size and they hold them without twisting. So with table knitting, we need to use our eyes and fingers to kind of keep an eye on everything. Got one more stitch in that row. So we go ahead and knit that one. So that right there is our row 3 repeat. And we have our 7 stitches again. We know we're in the right spot. You can see we're getting really starting to develop that knit look now with just these edges for a little bit more of interest. So now let's get back to that row 2 repeat. This is going to be just like the first row 2 we did. Last time we were working out of a row that was worked into the chain, but after this, it's just worked just like this. We're going to pull up our yarn again, get it all lined up behind our stitches here. There we are. Get a little extra because it's a thick yarn, so we'll run through it pretty quickly. There we are. And now, because we're going left to right for our row 2 repeat, again, we want to remember that we have those purls for our first and last stitches. So I'm going to pull the yarn to the front for just this first stitch. There's our loop, and we just push it right through the front. And pull that loop up so it's the same size as those other loops we've been making. Then we want to go ahead and pull it back to the back again and go back to pulling from back to front. And you can see once you get the hang of it and your fingers get used to these motions, it starts going pretty darn quickly. That said, I've had a lot of practice at this, and if this is your first time and it feels awkward, that's totally fine too. It takes a lot of getting used to, especially if you're new to yarn crafting or to using yarns like this. This is a really thick yarn, and it's pretty unusual, but it's a lot of fun. Got 2 more loops here. You can see our yarn's coming out of that stitch, so we've got 2 more loops to work into. Make sure it's all nicely straightened out. And just pull that loop up from behind. Now, we're going left to right. It's our second row repeat. So we need to pull our yarn to the front so we can purl that very last stitch by pushing our yarn from the front through to the back. There we are. And our yarn is already in place for our next row. There we are. Now you can see the fabric is starting to curl up a little bit. That's pretty normal with stockinette, even in this big plush yarn. And the weight of the blanket itself, as well as our bind off, will help straighten that out a little bit. But let's go ahead and take a quick look at what this looks like from the back. So let's say you were working on your project and you needed to walk away. You know, we all get those interruptions, dinner, kids, life. And you put it down, it gets flipped over, somebody moves it off the couch, which is the front and the back. Well, as you can see, the back for this project does look pretty darn different. We have here all these lumps and bumps. This is the reverse side of what this is called stockinette. When you've got sort of all these V's lined up, this is what the back of it looks like. We're going to have all these horizontal lines going across the back. So if you've put your your knit project down, for this blanket at least, it's relatively easy to say, okay, this is the back. This right here is the front. A very different look indeed. So let's go ahead and do a couple more rows, and then we'll do a bind off, and then I'll show you how to add more yarns and tack down those ends. Same same process for both, but we're going to be using one extra little tool for that. But before we do that, let's go ahead and do 2 more rows of the project itself so we can really kind of go over all those stitches. Now you can see again, this is trying to twist up on me, so I want to take my time and make sure that that loop goes through my fabric just like that. There we go. I'm going to pull this up to the back, and we're going right to left, so this is going to be another row 3 repeat. That means, and if you look at your written pattern, you can see this, it's all knits, no purls. So we're going to be coming from behind for all our stitches. So we just pull that right around and pull that right on up through our loop, and then continue across. Find the next one, make sure it's not twisted, and pull up our loop. Find the next one, and pull up our loop. There's the next one, and pull up our loop. If you find that you love table knitting and you're going to do a bunch of it, or if you want to take it on the road and travel with it, I recommend that you stop by your local Michaels, or if you're an online shopper, go to michaels.com and pick up some long knitting stitch markers. You're probably going to need several, especially for a great big project like this, but it basically, I unfortunately don't have one with me today. It looks like a really long safety pin, but what that allows you to do is basically open up that safety pin and string a bunch of these loops onto that safety pin and close it up. And that way these won't pull back out if you do want to travel with it. Even traveling it just, room to room around the house to work on it in the living room and then the bedroom, you may want to have something to help secure those loops. And I think that's probably the best tool for the job. Now this is our row 3 right to left, no purls. We want to pull that last one up from the back again. And basically that is our repeat. We keep repeating rows 2 and 3 until, according to the pattern, it is 55 inches long, or I'm going to go ahead and say until your blanket is as long as you want it to be. Now, that said, the way the bind off works, we're working from right to left, so that means we need to end on a row 2 repeat. Row 2 is the one where we go left to right, so we can be all set up for our bind off. So let's work another row 2 repeat together before we do our binding off. And of course, I'll answer any questions we have before then about the stitches themselves, because once we bind off, we're a little bit finished there with this piece. So we've got to do one more row 2 repeat. It's going to be left to right. We're going to start with a purl, end with a purl, knit everything in between. I've got my yarn lined up. So for the first one, I want to go ahead and pull it to the front and push it right through. And then bring it to the back and knit until I get to that last one. So while I get these loops all set up, Renee, are there any questions I can answer here before we do begin binding off and dealing with those ends?
Nothing new. Nope.
Okay. I feel like this yarn has such great stitch definition. I'm hoping it's really easy for you guys to see what I'm doing. It is just a really fun yarn to work with. I'm really enjoying it. There we are. Keep pulling on all those. And again, this is a brand new craft probably for a lot of people watching this video. So if your stitches aren't this even, if you don't like the way they look, keep practicing, keep making a swatch. And then remember, you can pull all of it out and start over again. You aren't stuck in it. It's not permanent. It's just yarn. Until you've tied any knots or cut your ends, none of it's permanent. So this is our row 2 repeat. We need to bring that yarn back to the front for that last purl. And there we go. So at this point, on our full-size blanket, the way it's written, it would be 55 inches long. If you wanted to change the length, you can totally make it a custom length. That's the whole point of making handcrafts, right? Is to make them the way you want to be, or however big you want them to be, and add those custom touches. So if you are making the full-size blanket, eventually, you're going to go through more than one skein. Each skein of this yarn is about 45 yards, I believe. And to make the full-size blanket in the pattern, it does take 7 skeins. So what you'll end up having to do is sew some ends together. And I also think that's the best way to handle the ends when we weave them in. So I'm going to show you both of those after I show the bind off. Binding off, though, is the one thing we need to do before we can finish our project. As you can see, we've got all these active loops right here. We can't just stop and cut our yarn. This is going to be a big mess. The whole thing's going to come undone. I also, before I bind off, one thing I almost forgot, I want to point out, if you find, the kids came over and tried to give you a little bit of help or something, and one of the loops is pulled out like this, you don't have to pull everything out. You can if you want to, especially if you're still learning, but you can find that loop and just pull it right back through. This is how we also fix knit projects on the needles. We just have to take them off the needles to pull those loops back through. So if you're just learning and that's going to be really confusing, that's fine. You can pull your stitches out, but if you find that one of them or two of them gets pulled out like that, you can really carefully pull those right back through. So now it is time to do our bind off. Again, we want to work from right to left, and we're going to be pulling these loops up about 2 inches tall. So same thing we've been doing, but we've got an extra step. first things first, let me get this centered again here. We're going to do our first stitch just like we've been doing. Make a regular knit stitch, just like that. Then we do the same thing in the next stitch. So far it's just what we've been doing, right? We've got our first 2 loops made right there. But now what I'm going to do is I am going to put the first loop that I made right here right over the second loop. So I pull that second loop right through the first one I made. Let me show you that again. I've pulled up the first loop, then the second loop. I want to put the second loop through the first loop so that I'm still holding on to that second loop, and that first loop is now laying down and totally secured. So then I go to the next loop, pull up our loop. Now I want to pull this new loop through this old loop. So the one you're left with should always be the last one you've made, and the previous one should be laying down around on top. We go to the next stitch, make a knit stitch, and pull it through the previous stitch. So even if you haven't done crochet or knitting before, if you've made those looms, those little weaving looms, those pot holder hot pad looms that with the elastic bands that I know I was crazy for as a kid, you may have done binding off before. Let's find our yarn, find our next loop right there, pull the loop through from the back, and pull the new loop through the old loop. There we are. I always like to give it a little tug, sort of stretches it out, makes the stitches lay down nicely. Just a couple more to go. Pull the yarn up through the loop from the back. And, oh, that last one wanted to twist. I'm going to untwist it here. I like to make sure that they're laying down really nicely. And pull the new loop through the old loop. Last one. I'm going to pull that yarn from behind, make my last little knit stitch there, and pull it through the previous one. And now we will go ahead and cut our yarn and secure that very last loop. But before I do that, are there any questions? I want to give you guys a second. Drop your questions in the chat about any of those stitches, especially the bind off, before I cut that yarn. Because once I cut the yarn, I can try and make a few more stitches, but it will, of course, take a couple minutes there to get us going again.
Speak now or forever hold your
Yes,
peace.
pretty much. It's bound off, and that is the thing about the knitting. Like I say, we've been able to pull out all those stitches until we cut the yarn and put this final knot in. Then we are done. All right, looks like we're going to go ahead and take our chances here. So I've got that last active loop right there. We want to make sure we don't pull that out anywhere. We want that nice and safe. I'm going to pull out my scissors, and I'm going to go ahead and cut the yarn. And again, I'm going to leave a little bit of length here. Just cut right through it. Nice sharp scissors are required for this yarn. There we go. So I showed at the beginning of the class, but in case you missed it here, see if I can get it to focus. This is a very unusual yarn, really fun to knit and crochet with, but we need to handle those ends just a little bit differently. So first things first, we need to secure that very last loop, right? Otherwise, if we pull on this end, the whole thing will come undone, and we don't want that. All we need to do to secure that final loop is send this end through that loop. Give it a good tug, and you can see pulls it right down in. Now, we're still not completely married to this project. If we want to, we could use our fingers and pull that yarn back out. So, you want to take a good long last look at it. This is the front, and this is the back, and know that you're finished. And now we can truly secure these ends. And this is the same technique in the end that you would use if you needed to join more yarn to continue knitting your project. And for this, we're going to be bringing in some sewing thread. Got some here by Coats. It is standard all-purpose sewing thread. Again, you can pick that up at your local Michaels. It says to use, recommended of course, that you use matching thread. I don't happen to have this pretty orange color in thread, but I did find that this neutral color, when I was practicing yesterday, blended in really, really well. So you know, whatever you've got, get as close as you can. Something really neutral is great as well. So first, let's do it like we are adding another yarn. Not normally what I do since I've bound this off, but before we do our bind off, if you're working the actual project, you're going to need to add another skein first. So here's what I want you to do. We're going to take, let's say this is your first skein, this is the end of the first skein, and this is the end of the second skein, the new skein that you're joining. What we're going to do is we're going to overlap these, and I want you to go ahead and give it a good 2 inches or so. Create a little yarn sandwich there, if you will. And then what we need to do, because of the way this yarn is constructed, we saw what's inside there, we're going to use, oops, let me get it centered on the screen there. We're going to use our fingers to really do a good pinch at the top there and at the bottom. Can you guys see what I'm doing here? I'm creating a really smooth section here in the middle. So I've got this end secured between those 2 fingers and this end, and the other yarn secured in those 2 fingers. I just want to create a really nice, taut, tight, smooth section right here to sew through. And then I need to, oops, get my needle attached. It attached to the sweater I'm wearing. I find the needle I had. There we go. Should have put that a little bit somewhere safer. I'm going to take my needle. It's got my thread already on it. It's a length of thread. I have tied a knot. See if we can get that to show up on camera here. There it is. There's a knot in the end. And now what I'm going to do, make sure that thread is nice and smooth, and that my knot is at the end after I got stuck on my sweater and everything here. It's a little bit of extra preparation. It's a little fiddly, but it's going to make the end result a lot smoother. There we go. Now what I'm going to do is I'm simply going to sew these ends together. I'm not going to try and come too close to either of these cut ends. I'm just going to go right in the middle, right in between my fingers. And I'm just going to sew. See, it's hard to do this for the right angle for the camera here, but I'm going to sew back and forth. It's nothing complicated. I'm not doing any particular stitch or anything like that. I'm not, worrying about exactly where I stick my needle. I'm just going back and forth a few times here. And you can do this as many times as you're comfortable with. But you can see I am definitely not using a matching thread color, but it really is disappearing right in there. So like I say, for my thread drawer, I tend to keep a couple of good neutrals around. I've got, some off-white, some white, some black. Got a couple colors too, but having the basics on hand really will take care of most of your needs for this sort of project. So I've just gone back and forth a few times. Like I say, nothing fancy at all. But now I can pull, and those 2 yarn ends are really nicely connected. They are not coming apart. So what I want to do is just go ahead and add a couple knots here to this side and finish off our thread. I always like to do 2 or 3 of them. Oops, don't want to go around that end of the yarn there. I want to keep it nice, a nice tight little knot on the yarn. There we are. And then of course we can trim that off. And I'm going to put another little knot in here so I can have it ready to go for our next bit of the demo. Sorry, just putting a knot in the thread. Wandered off screen there. There we go. All right. So I'm going to set that one aside somewhere safe so it doesn't get stuck to my sweater. All righty. So now we have these 2 ends stuck together. Kind of big and bulky, right? Now is when we go ahead and bring back those scissors. We don't want to get too close. I don't recommend you get too close to those threads, but we can trim it out a bit more. I have to get some sharper scissors over here, it looks like. But we just want to leave, I'd say maybe a 1/2 inch or so of each end like this. And then as you continue knitting, or however you want to work with this, let's go ahead and take a few pretend stitches here. Just going to go ahead and pretend that I can continue to work on this project, even though I've knotted it off. I'm going to pull up some loops here, but you can see once we get there, there's that knot. You can kind of try and hide it down in the fabric as best you can, but you can really just go ahead and continue working with it with those 2 ends sewn together. So then, well, what happens when we get to the end of the project? Then we've got 2 more ends. We've got the end that we started with and the end that we finished with. So I'm going to go ahead, cut that off right there. And now we're left with our fresh project again. So now we're going to finish it off by sewing down these ends again, but we want to do a little bit of weaving before we do that. So since this side is considered our front side, our right side, we want to concentrate most of our weaving in on the back. That said, this is your project. If you actually prefer the look of this side, then you might want to concentrate your weaving in the ends on the back side. It's up to you. Most people, however, will consider this to be the right side or the front side of the project. So we're going to go ahead for now and turn it over to the back. And then we're going to find these ends. And it's the same procedure for the beginning end and the final end, whichever one you want to, or we'll want to do it with both of them. So whichever one you're working on first. We're going to take that end and we can go ahead and take our fingers and we're just going to weave it in. That's literally when someone, might see in a project, they say weave it in. We're literally just kind of weaving that yarn in and around some of these stitches. Now, this is a big, bulky yarn. You can keep doing this for a long time, or let's bring back that needle and thread. Get it straightened out here again. I think I might need to add one more knot. I was trying to be a little quick with that one. We want to add a couple knots right on top of each other. It's kind of hard to show, but you can feel it when you're tying the knots in your thread. Make that knot a little bit bigger so it doesn't pull up through the yarn. Just going to trim off the end here. There we are. So hopefully you can see that. Got a little bit of thread left over there. That'll be fine. And then what we're going to do, here's my yarn end, and here's that last stitch that I put it behind. Before I finish this off, I'm going to turn it over to the right side and say, does that still look good? Or did it create any weirdness? I think it looks pretty good. I don't see it peeping through. I think we're in the right spot. So I'm going to use my hands, like I've been doing the whole time. And here's the end. There's that cut end again. And there's the loop that I just sort of wove it under. And now I'm going to sew those two together. Just going to sew that end right in place. So again, this one is pulled pretty tight. This one, we've got lots of end here, so I can just use my fingers to sort of pinch that fabric together. But we're just going to go right through both of those layers. Oh, so carefully. Back and forth, until we feel like it's sewed down really well. So a couple more stitches here, maybe one more. And then I can give that a little tug, and I know that that end isn't going to go anywhere. So same thing. I'm going to go ahead and tie off the thread. If it was a full-size real blanket, I might try and tie it off on the inside if I want to be extra fancy. But again, I don't think this is going to show up at all. Not unless you know what you're looking for, right? There we go. And then we can pull our scissors back out, trim off that bit of thread. Put my needle aside safely so I don't get myself again. And then we find that end there. Right there is where it's sewn down. Again, it is in place. So I don't want to cut too closely. We don't want this thread to come unraveled. It is a really unique yarn. So I'm just going to cut it close, but not under the strand that I sewed it to. There we are. You can see that is pretty darn subtle, especially for such a thick, chunky yarn. So we can take one more look here. Let me set aside my scissors and things because it is a big, heavy blanket, the finished one here, and pull this in. Again, you can make this blanket any size you want. Start with the number of chains you want. That determines the width of the blanket. Add however many rows you want. That determines the length of your blanket. There is no set number needed. It will just determine how much yarn you end up using there in the end. So it looks like I've actually got it upside down right now. So this is our beginning end, but that's the fun thing about the knit stitch. It kind of looks the same both directions. In this white color, it's a little bright on screen. You can see how beautifully it creates that fabric that we see on all those really expensive and gorgeous home decor shows and all those beautiful pictures on Instagram. You can absolutely get this look with this yarn. So once again, if you're out there looking for the yarn, this is what you want to find for this pattern. It is Bernat Plush Big, and the pattern itself is the Bernat Knit Plush Blanket. Were there any other questions I could answer before we go?
Mostly compliments, as always.
Well, thank you so
um,
much.
Tina said she learned a lot, which
Okay,
is great.
awesome.
We're
Well,
so
thank you so
happy.
much, guys. Thank you. Oh, and somebody wanted to show off their blanket. I almost forgot. We've
Yes,
got a couple minutes left, so that's perfect.
okay. I'm just scrolling up here.
That's me.
Okay. Ariana, are you still in here? If yes, do you want to raise your hand?
Okay, awesome. Yeah, so like I say, while we look for Ariana's blanket, just keep practicing. If the chains are tricky, that's okay. I teach people how to crochet all the time, hands and hook. And sometimes it takes a lot of practice to get those chains right and get used to that feel of it on your hands. It is a whole new technique, so don't worry about it. Take your time, and you'll get something you really love. Were you able to find Ariana?
Yeah, Ariana's here.
Okay,
So
excellent.
if everyone wants to take a look, they can go to gallery view. And Ariana, do you want to hold up your blanket?
Let's see.
Oh, it looks so great.
That's fantastic. Great job, Ariana.
I
That's
love
really
it.
beautiful. That
Ariana
is,
must have used a variegated, so she got a
yes,
really cool color effect. So we were working with a solid color today, so you can really see that stitch definition, but it's really fun to play with color work too.
absolutely. And like I say, practice with it, make it smaller so you can, give it a little whirl without committing to a whole blanket. Start adding other colors. When you sew in that next, that next skein, make it another color. You can definitely make this project your own. So thank you so much. Great job, Ariana, and it's a great job, everybody. I hope you enjoyed this class, and I hope you have a wonderful night.
All right, awesome. As Tamara said, thank you so much for joining us. We hope this starts a beautiful new craft for you or trying out something a little bit different. Don't forget to share your work with hashtag Make It With Michaels and hashtag Yarnspo. That's YARNSPO. We'd love to see your projects. And just a reminder that you can find more classes on michaels.com and the recording of today's class at michaels.com/classes. All right, night everyone.
Bye.
Bye.